People of Earth, how are you? Wait, can I still say that? Welcome to show number 1 of Killing Lawyers. Are we doing that?
I don't know.
I'm just kidding. Welcome to Kinda Right. My name is Al. His name is Joe.
We were thinking about calling it, changing the name of our show to Kill All Lawyers. But,
Lawyers are pawn scum, something. No, we like Kill All Lawyers.
yeah, Kill All Lawyers.
By the way, we're not saying that we are going to kill all lawyers.
No. We're not inciting violence.
No. We're just
We're
hoping.
wishing and hoping that
That's all.
somebody would, kill large amounts of them at the same time.
I mean, if we do change the name, can I keep the same intro and outro music?
Of course.
All right, that's cool because we just had I paid for a study, and they found that in our key listener demographic of ages 45 to 54, they approve of our intro and outro music.
They do.
Yeah, that's what the study said.
Well,
so it sounds like 2 out of 3 of you are all set.
Right.
They like our music. That's a big 67%, man.
It's good to have like 3 or 4 of them
Yeah.
happy.
Jesus Christ, I wonder what our key demographic is. I believe it's men 45 to 54.
Well, if you look at all the people that follow us,
It's all women.
It's almost all women.
Yeah, that's because we're huge with the bitches. That's why.
Which doesn't make a hell of a lot of sense, but
I'm going to tell you why it's that way. Because those analytics are... the second we signed up for a podcast, I got an email or a message or whatever on SoundCloud that said, I'm going to give you X amount of my listeners per week, and they're going to say they like the show or follow it.
right.
If you do the same for me. And I went, oh, okay, knowing full well I wouldn't. I
Right.
clicked off, yeah, I'm there. Those people don't listen. They don't listen to us. Those women who you're talking about. They don't listen. It's not a real thing. It's shared demographics. Now, there are other people who listen.
I don't understand. So
There's some fucking way that you can share, quote unquote, listeners.
but don't you always say no?
Well, I told her yes.
Yeah, but how much? There's been multiple.
Oh, I haven't checked anymore. I don't. Do you check the SoundCloud message board on our? Do you have a? Well, you go on Pulse once in a while, right? I never check our email.
What happened was for the first year we had 10 followers,
Yeah.
and it would go up to 14 and then go back down to 7
Yeah. Right.
because you get one of those people that said, "Yeah, look, well, and they'd throw some people your way."
Right. So
But it's all bullshit. It's a scam.
it's a scam, right?
So what I'm saying is the ones that we have now are the ones that didn't leave and may actually be true listeners.
All right. Well, if that's the case, look, I've been beating women off me since I'm 3. You know what I mean? Women love me, and they love you.
I don't know. It's a fucked up.
We're lovable
I don't
guys.
think it's very good. I don't think the analytics on this
No,
very
it's-
good.
There's other outside ones that.
But
Listen,
we'll worry about that.
it's just a little hobby we got going here. It's fun.
Right.
Let me tell you a quick story, and then we'll get on to news of the day. So, Evan, my son comes over for dinner on most Wednesday nights. And soon my daughter will be there too, but she went right from college to Europe for a couple weeks, so I won't be seeing her at Wednesday dinner. Ev came over, and lately he's been staying over, getting up early and going to work right from my house, Got
Yeah.
a nice guest bedroom in there. So we had some tacos and shit. He's like, I think I should take a shower. Oh, in the meantime, after dinner, I was cleaning up the kitchen, and I noticed him. He was doing calisthenics and stretches and exercises, and he has been keeping active. So I'm like, all right, so this is his routine. I haven't seen it. And I started thinking, wow, he's acting a little frantic, though. You know what I mean? He seems a little off. He goes, I'm going to take a shower. I say, all right. He's in there for like 30, 35 minutes, which that's not irregular. He showers a long time. I think he goes until wherever he is, the hot water just runs the fuck out, and then he gets out, you know?
Well, he might be in there having a good time
If
with
it takes 10 minutes, wait. There's more.
Okay. Do I want to know any more of this?
Well, it's along that line, but not really. So the fact of the matter is whether there's 3 minutes of hot water left or 38 minutes, he's using it, you know, which is funny. So he gets out and he goes, remember that thing that was going on with my ball sack a couple months ago? I went, yeah, your nut hurt, right? He goes, yeah. And I went to the emergency room. He goes, it hurts real bad again. And I go, like just now? Is that why you were bugging out in there? Were you trying to work that out or something? He goes, yeah. I said, do you want to just see how you feel in the morning? And he goes, he shakes his head. I go, you want to go to the hospital? He goes, yep. I said, all right, I'll go with you. I had a few I will admit it, I'm back drinking during the week. That's going to end after this fucking Memorial Day. But anyway, I had a few cocktails, and I went, you're driving. So we drove to the hospital, packed up my book. He's like, he goes in and tells him what's going on. He's been in there before. And then I'm trying to put it together. We'd been in there before for this. Why hasn't it been dealt with? Well, he had gotten an appointment with a urologist, and he blew it off because he felt better a couple months ago.
Yeah.
So now we're going through the whole thing again.
That's what happened to Lance Armstrong. He had testicular
Well,
cancer.
here's the thing. They gave him an ultrasound in the last time and this time. And he gets in there. They had him out back for an ultrasound within 10 minutes. And the place was jammed. And there were people out back. They weren't just in the hallways. They were spilled over everywhere. The place was jammed.
Right.
They got him right in for an ultrasound. And then eventually, I would say we got there about 9:45. We pulled out of there about 1:45. So we were there 4 hours. But it went real quick. The ultrasound was negative. The doctor came in, and blah, 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 blah. What? This has happened before? She goes, you got to go to your urologist tomorrow. She goes, you look fine. She goes, there's a certain thing, and I forget what she calls it. It's torsion of the testicle, and it like turns where it doesn't, like yours and mine don't. Some guys have it, and it's painful. And there's a procedure that you can get to, make it not be that way. It's probably what he's got in store for him.
Could also be epididymitis.
Well, they're going to look at. Listen, I've had that too. I've had that. I had that. It could be anything. So so I decide he bangs in at 6. I said, call in, tell him you were in the hospital till 2, and they told you have to go to a specialist first thing in the morning. That's all you have to say. You don't have to tell him anything other than that. And then I called in. I said, I'll be in the afternoon. I got some shit to figure out. Now, keeping all this in mind, the kid just turned 18. And the whole thing with the primary care doctor in the American health fucking industry now? You cannot get a fucking referral or do anything without, even though you can go to the emergency room, you can't have anything done by another doctor in an office unless your personal care physician writes you a referral. Follow what I'm saying? So it doesn't matter that the hospital said, go to this doctor. You go to the doctor, you say, I need to be seen, and they go, okay, we'll see you next week. Get a referral from your doctor.
Well, I think if it's part of if it's an emergency.
Well, so keep all this. The other thing with this is we're in the middle of switching him from his pediatrician to an adult doctor. Mm-hmm. So all the paperwork is in flux. So I spent the morning running from the urologist to his new doctor, which is my doctor, back to the pediatrician to get records releases, blah, 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 blah. Bottom line is after all that hoopla, he can't be seen till the 29th, next Wednesday. And then he's seeing his new doctor the 14th. It's just crazy. It was a crazy day. And it turns out, he's probably works driving him mental, by the way. All his mental shit is because he hates his job. Or hates where he works. He likes his job. He just hates the people he works with. You know what I mean? They're bullies. They pick on him. And he wants to kill everyone. And they get glee in the fact that they get him right to the point of him snapping. You know what I mean?
Who's bullying him?
His coworkers are assholes. They're not really bullying him. It's just they're dickheads. And I told him there's dickheads everywhere you work. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but what are they doing?
I don't know. They pick on him. They pick on his work. He produces. They know that he's sensitive and that he's a kid. He's the fucking low man there. You know what I mean? So he's just not used to adult men being assholes to him.
He punches people out, too.
Yeah, but he doesn't want to do that at work. You know what I mean? He's not looking to lay waste to 2 or 3, 4 guys at work. Because, one of them could pick up a piece of fucking steel, too, and clock him. He's no dummy. Probably harder to make quick work of 4 guys at the machine shop than it is at the cafeteria in school. You know what I mean?
I don't know.
Right there, you can mop up.
Fat and out of shape.
Well, he says one of them. That's the other thing. He went right on a rampage about one guy. He's like, that fucking guy's 30 and he's gonna have a fucking heart attack. He's a fat motherfucker. I'm like, well, you're right.
Call him a fat motherfucker. That's what I do.
Yeah.
Whatever you say, you fat pig.
Tell him to have a fucking salad. We were just listening to the great president of the United States, Donald Trump's little presser after his meeting, and I love the fact that he says Nancy Pelosi
This isn't after his meeting. This was today.
Today, I'm sorry. Nancy Pelosi is a mess. Nancy the mess Pelosi.
Well,
crazy Nancy.
And crying Chuck.
Crying Chuck Schumer.
Crying Chuck Schumer. Well, they're lying.
Yeah, well, lying Hillary.
They just, I've said this before, and, Washington isn't as broken as you think, because it's just the people that you see, that you see all the time, these people that are there for fucking ever. Like Nancy Pelosi, the most visionless, fucking wrinkled up old bag. I think he's right. I think she's like she's got fucking head tics, and I think she's got mental problems.
You think?
Yeah, I really do. I believe she has some fucking mental, some old age mental problems. You know what I mean? Kind of like my mother has. Little fucking head twitch.
Oh, boy.
And she fucks up all the time. And I mean, I just think it's this. You probably have 30 House members, 30 or 40 House members, and maybe 10 to 15 Senate members that you see on a regular basis. And the rest of them you never hear from. And they probably are just as disgusted as everybody else. Like, let's fucking get some done. I was just reading about the impeachment. Now, one of the reasons, she doesn't seem like she's saying that she thinks he wants to have them go through with impeachment because there is a good chance that not only would, when it comes to impeachment, they would just, they would I don't know whether they have to have a trial in the Senate or whether they can just say, he's not guilty. We're not going to have a trial. Goodbye. This was political. I don't know what the deal is, whether they have to have a trial or they can just say, we're not doing it because it was all political. But they don't think she doesn't think she has the House members either that will impeach her, because there's a lot of Democrats that are like, why didn't you fucking go there and talk about the infrastructure bill? Why do you got to keep this fucking thing rolling? What's the purpose?
Every single one of them is running for re-election too, by the way.
Yeah, I don't understand. Look, if you hate the guy, that's fine. But we just spent 2 years with this Mueller, and he came back and he basically said, he didn't exonerate him from impeachment, but he didn't have enough to charge him either.
Right.
And believe me, he charged a lot of other people, and there's people in jail. So I think they're doing themselves a disservice, and I think they're what they're doing is also they're driving. I believe they're deathly afraid of this attorney general who is fucking gonna dig deep and find out, because all roads lead back to Obama and the beginning of this investigation of Trump, and that's gonna look pretty fucking bad. It's going to go back to Susan Rice, and then Susan Rice was working, she was Obama's girl. And it's going to become up political, and they're going to find this, the CIA guy, John Brennan, and the NSA guy, Jim Clapper. Jim Clapper, who fucking bold-faced lied to Congress.
Right.
Just absolutely under oath sat there, was asked in any way, shape, or form, do we spy on the American people? Not wittingly, he said. And then
Right.
Snowden came out 3 weeks later, and James Clapper was proven to be a fucking liar. So, and why? I don't know. He wasn't prosecuted. It's just I don't have a lot of trust in these people. And I do believe that there are, look, you have government employees that stay, and this doesn't mean it's a bad thing, but there are people that are there, and they're there for, 30, 40 years.
Right.
And I think we keep some bad people. I bet the CIA has a fucking union. I bet there's a union.
Who knows?
That...
A union of fucking intelligent
the intelligence fucking service union, or they're part of some public employee
I was
union.
gonna say, they're probably aren't they all in the same fucking government public workers union?
Yeah, and
It's all the same union.
So I just think but it doesn't mean the entire government's broken. But when you have a lot of Republicans dislike him as well, in my book, that's a good thing, because he's just sort of, he's not going, he's fucking up their little fucking deals. Because he sees what's going on. I mean, he sees these people, these fucking congressmen, and they get out and they turn around and they become lobbyists, and they're fucking, and he turned around. He's the first president to do anything about fucking drug prices.
Right.
I'll never forget this, Al. I watched George W. Bush pass the $600 billion Medicare Part D. And in there it said that the federal government could not negotiate drug prices. And that's fucking crazy.
Right.
So I guess, I don't know whether if that's the only way he could get it passed. I don't know what the deal is, but Trump's kind of took it upon himself to say, this is fucking insane.
Right.
What are we doing paying, 10 times as much as Canada for the same fucking drug?
Right.
And this whole, this bullshit about, we need if we don't charge the money, we won't have the money for R&D. But they go and they look at, as far as a corporation, the drug companies are like 3 times as profitable as any other corporation.
Right.
And bullshit, they're lying. They're full of shit, and they're lying. So we don't want the drug companies to go away. We just want them to be.
Especially the ones that make Percocet and oxycodone, those people. We want them to keep their good work up.
My grandfather was involved in one of the first health insurance plans ever.
Mm-hmm.
And
as what? Selling them? Or?
No, writing it.
Oh, okay. He was a legislator?
No, he worked for an insurance company.
Oh, no shit.
And he said the amount of greed, because, they had to make deals with suppliers, doctors, insurance companies, various other insurance companies, drug manufacturers, the whole 9 yards. And he said, and I didn't hear this straight from him. My father told me. He said that the level of greed, you can't even fathom how greedy these people are. And that always stuck with me. They're just so fucking greedy.
Right.
And it's so important to them to, and for what? I mean, so that you can be a scumbag, so that they're people, so you can live in like a fucking $30 million house while
a 30,000 square foot house instead of a 15,000 square foot house.
Yeah, you live in some museum,
Right.
With
Literally
90% of the house you don't fucking use
or see,
and
definitely don't clean,
so that you can show off to people,
right?
And
Get another
you don't have a true friend in the world,
right?
Because if you hang out with anybody that's interested in how much shit you have, you don't have a friend,
Right.
because as soon as you lose all your shit or something goes wrong, those people are gone. They're fucking down the road. So I don't get it. I just, look, it's nice to have a few bucks, but this fucking greed is crazy. It's crazy. And they can't seem to get enough. They can't seem to get enough money. We just want more. More and more, baby.
That's the game, I guess. I don't know. Me, I'm trying to maximize my downtime, not my bank account. You know what I mean?
Well, that's always been my goal.
Yeah, maximize my downtime.
Not working.
It's a phrase fucking coined by my brother Paul.
I'll tell you what. I got my machine. I bought a new machine. I tell you this last week. Tuesday.
2 days ago, yeah.
It blew a line, and I had to replace 5 lines because it was...
Right.
I got this machine from Missouri, and it had some Missouri mud inside, rubbing against the hydraulic lines. And I had to replace all 5 of them. It went to one side of the machine. At any rate, I was running that today. I'll tell you, having a cab with AC and heat is wonderful. Because it wasn't hot. It was like 66 degrees today, 67, something like that.
It was nice out.
But when you're in the sun and you're in a cab, of course, it gets
warm.
So it was just like the perfect temperature, and it makes it quieter. I always wear earplugs, but it makes it quieter, and it's just a...
What a coincidence, Joe. I always wear butt plugs. Wait, sorry. Is this on?
You always have a butt plug.
Is this on?
At any rate,
hey, I got more politics to talk about, but I'll take a break from politics for a sec. You're into all this mountain climbing movie stuff, and it interests you, the spirit of these guys and the stick-to-itiveness. I saw a headline recently about this dude, an American, was summiting Everest for the 7th time, okay?
Yeah.
Now, I know summiting Everest, it ain't what it used to fucking be. And plus, that whole place is littered with bodies of the people trying to do it.
Well, bodies and shit.
Yeah. 7th time he summited, and he died on the trip down. It's like, how many times you got to summit that thing? I mean, who are these guys who can just fucking climb mountains anyway, over and over?
And not to make light of it. I mean, climbing Everest is still, that's a pretty big accomplishment. But there are people. Look, the Sherpas. There is a movie called Meru, Meru. And if you want to get the difference between climbing Everest and climbing a mountain where you have to bring all the shit you're going to need yourself.
No Sherpas.
There aren't Sherpas that are going to bring all the food and tents and shit you're going to need. because they stay at 17,000 feet for like 2 months,
Right.
and they start going up to Camp 2, like, you know, they'll go up and stay for a little while, then they'll come down,
Right.
and all the ropes are fixed all the way up the mountain,
Right.
but it's still dangerous because, you know, the weather changes in a fucking instant,
Right.
and you're so weak. I guess the deal is if somebody like just fucking runs out of gas, the strongest, toughest climber can't fucking haul someone down the mountain.
Right.
You know, or it's very, I think it's been done, but it's, you know, it takes a special person to be able to do that. So going up Everest, more than once, you sort of like, you know, go climb another fucking mountain.
Right. Go climb. That's what I'm saying. It's like, why 7
One
times,
and done.
dude? You could see if like Tenzing Win Sherpa died on his 87th fucking trip down. You know what I mean? That's his job.
Well, they do it. That's.
But this guy's a trophy climber, I call them.
Well, and that base camp at 17,000 feet. Although they were the Sherpas went up.
I heard they got a McDonald's at that thing.
No,
I'm just kidding. Photo booth and shit.
Although I'm
peanut vendors.
surprised,
It's like Times Square.
I'm
that fucking
surprised
thing.
they're not pumping water up there and don't have, you know, a supply of electricity.
Yeah.
But they.
I bet you can definitely get a craps game. And
shit.
And a blowjob.
There's a bunch of. There's
You know what I mean?
bunch of. There's. I don't know. There's like 400 or 500 people.
Yeah.
At that base camp.
That's what I'm saying. Anywhere there's that many people, there's some vice going on.
Well, the thing that really is scary about that is there's a fucking line of people going up.
Right.
Because everybody, you know, when there's good weather and it's time for everyone to go, they all fucking go.
Right.
So grandma that's 75 years old is setting the pace.
Right.
And you got people behind because, you know, there's not 2 sets of fixed rope.
Right.
So they're all fucking on the same rope going up. And that's fucking scary.
That'll drive you crazy. Just my luck. I finally get there. I saved my whole life, and I am fucking.
You have to wait in a line like you're going to fucking Walmart.
I'm fucking 400 yards behind the first quadriplegic to summit Everest. You know what I mean?
Some asshole in a wheelchair.
Right. Some guy figured it out. And he has no arms.
Got a wheelchair
no
with
legs.
skis on it or something.
Yeah. Fucking Stephen Hawking is fucking summiting Everest, and I'm behind him. Thanks. Yeah. You know what I mean?
But the guy...
No, you can't go around.
The guy that shot Meru also shot Free Solo.
Jesus, I'm way funnier and more charming when I'm drunk, Joe. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Which that's Alex Honnold.
Yeah.
And actually, I just watched a clip from, I don't know what show it was, but Joe Rogan had a Navy SEAL on, and they were talking about Alex Honnold, and the Navy SEAL was saying, you know, I did some rock climbing, and as part of training, but, you know, I thought I might want to get into it, and he said, you know, I don't really like heights, and he said, these people, he says, you know, so myself, a friend, and then this guy that lives in a van, but he's an expert climber. He's climbed everything, and they call him dirt bags. These guys literally, like, they don't have a job. They fucking live in the woods.
Right.
They live, you know, they got a fucking little van. They'll do odd jobs to make some money here and there.
And by odd, we mean blow.
Yeah.
Jobs.
And I think they'll, you know, I don't believe they blow people, but they'll, you know, for a few bucks, they'll help you get up the mountain.
Hand.
And he said, this guy, he's all fucking roped in and shit, and he freezes up, and he's having a panic attack. And the guy comes up, no ropes. He's smoking a cigarette. And he goes, "You all right, bud?" And he said, these people are fucking insane.
Right.
I mean, they have in that movie, Free Solo, they stuck Alex Honnold, the climber, into an MRI machine and measured his amygdala against a
What is it? That sounds glandular.
control. It's the part of your brain that
Oh, it's lobular.
that says, you should be afraid now.
Right.
And his, isn't on.
Right. It's just not wired.
He has no fear.
Right.
And
that's how he's made.
he just...
Or is that nature or nurture? Did he nurture himself to become that way? I wonder. It's probably a little bit of both. Yeah, right. Like anything else, right?
But I think he's autistic.
That could be.
But these people are, they fucking love it so much that, they live for it.
Yeah.
And, he's got I guess he said during this movie, he's got the girlfriend there, and she's like, well, how about if I said, I didn't want you to go? And he's like, well, I really don't care what you think.
Right.
I'm fucking going.
Speaking of autism, I wasn't. This was not written down. Do you have anyone in your life or your family who's has autism or Asperger's or anything on that so-called spectrum?
Not that I'm aware of.
I know a couple people, and one in my family, one in a close friend's family.
Well, Linda Callahan's sister has a son that's autistic. Gregory.
Okay.
And that's she's a saint. And so is her husband. She's with a guy that, because, he's never going to live on his own.
That's what I was just going to ask. Will he ever live on his own?
No. I mean, I don't know what happens when they die. You know what I mean? Because
Well, it used to be they went into the fucking Taunton State Hospital.
He's a lot of work.
Yeah.
And he, and he's big. He's a full-grown man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
so is he incapable of having a conversation with anyone? Anyone?
Pretty much.
Yeah, that sucks. That's the extreme. That's why they call it the spectrum, because it's different.
He just sort of kind of, there's no eye contact.
Yeah.
He's
That's
just
the
kind
other
of,
thing.
he's rocking back and forth as he's standing there. He's fucked. And Ira's ex-wife has her husband has a kid who has Asperger's.
Right.
And now he can pay attention. You can tell that he's really bright too.
He can have a job too, by the way.
Yeah. And he's in college.
He may not be able
he's
to
either
live
in college or he's going. But he'll be able to function in the real world. He is missing some social skills.
Yeah.
But he's aware that he's missing the social skills.
That's cool. That's cool.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, so he can work on that too.
So I don't know if he'll ever be, in quotations, normal. But then again, it doesn't really matter.
This isn't why I brought it up.
Why?
It's not why I brought it up, but we've talked about that TV show with the autistic fucking surgical resident, The Good Doctor. Have you seen that yet?
No.
You'd like it. You should watch it.
No, I wouldn't.
No, I'm telling you, you'd like it.
Medical show?
I've never really been
hospital
in. It's
show?
not. Yeah, it's not that. It's not. Well, yeah. I'll tell you what. Every single episode, somebody lying flat on their back goes boop and comes back. Every single show.
Yeah, that's
part of the formula.
They've been doing that forever, though.
I know, but they do it in a cool way. But there's hot chicks, which they've been doing too.
I watched St. Elsewhere back in the 80s with Denzel Washington.
I watched that for, I forgot he was on there. I know Howie Mandel was on it.
Howie Mandel.
When I think St. Elsewhere, I think that.
And various other people
that you would recognize.
Dead.
Yeah, I know that. Everybody's getting old, aren't they?
Long fucking dead.
Yeah. Fucking Dana Carvey was on Stern the other day.
Dana's got to be like 65.
You know how old Dana Carvey is? 65.
Yeah.
Good guess. He looks great, by the way. He still looks like Garth to me.
Oh, yeah.
But he's 65.
Yeah, it's
everyone's getting old, man.
Wayne's World was early 90s, I think, wasn't it?
I keep talking. I'm in wonder. Never mind the real old rock stars and the big bands. Like, the Stones are getting to be 80 or they're all 80. Fucking The Who are in their fucking mid-late 70s. I got I was listening to something that came on. That fucking song "Don't Stop Believin'" by Journey came on. I loved Journey. You know what I mean?
I love Journey too.
All those guys are 70 and 60 something. You know what I mean? It's,
your brother used to make fun of me. We'd play cards, and I had Journey going.
Which brother? Paul?
Yeah. He's like, how much more Journey are we going to have to listen to?
That's funny. If that you remember that. It's funny that he said it, first of all.
You mentioned Journey, and I remember it.
Well, the guitar...
I don't remember being, I wasn't, my feelings weren't hurt. I said, fuck you, Paul.
Yeah, right.
But
the guitar player, Neil Sean, he didn't just have... I was looking him up because he's an interesting character. He was in Santana when he was 17 years old. And he was offered to be in something else, and he took the Santana gig. And then he started Journey in the early 70s. The guy's only 65 also. He's been around a long, long time. You know who he's married to?
Are you talking about the singer?
No, the guitar player, Neil Sean. Steve Perry was
Steve Perry
was the big singer, but they had a singer before him too. And now they have a Filipino who sings just like him.
He sounds just like Steve Perry.
He's been in Journey twice as long as Steve Perry was, believe it or not. That's how long.
Is that true?
Yeah, he's been in there like 16 years. Steve Perry was in Journey like 8
I remember
years.
when they found him.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like it was that long ago.
It was the
but
beginning
it
of
is.
YouTube. That was the beginning of YouTube. What the hell? What do you got, a wart? Is that a wart you're growing?
It's a corn.
I think that's a wart.
And it's making
I've had them there too, right on the fucking tip of the inside of your fucking thumb knuckle.
Well, it's making my fingers numb, so it's fucking doing something to a nerve. I'm gonna have to go and get this.
Get it lanced.
I don't think it's
lanceable.
I think
it's
you know
solid. You know what they'll do to
That's why
that,
I
Joe?
think it's a corn.
They'll either freeze it off or they'll fucking cauterize it. They'll probably freeze it.
I think they gotta
or
operate
chemical
on
freeze
it.
it. Really?
Pull it out.
How long has it been like that?
I don't know.
I mean,
Not years.
I never noticed. It looks like it's driving you mental right now.
Well, it's just I didn't think anything of it.
Looks like you hit the fucking thing with a hammer.
I know, but it's just this. It's like a corn.
It's fucking
on
vile.
my thumb.
And this is why. That's the other thing. Maybe you're right. Maybe we do need cameras. And here's the thing. I tried to get into this the other day, but I don't know if you know. You were drunk the other day, and every time I tried to talk about something, you wouldn't let me talk. Remember that idea you
on
had?
The show, yeah.
That idea you had about you said maybe we should do video, and I said sounds good. I don't want to do any work, but I did some research. We can get a setup with those small cameras.
Yeah, I know.
And we can put them 3, 4, 5 of them, whatever, and not have to edit it. You buy software.
Where it switches back to whoever's speaking?
Yeah, either whoever's speaking or it randomly, if there's an algorithm and it just figures out, it doesn't do the exact same pattern. It just goes back and forth and you don't have to edit the fucking thing.
And that's what we don't want to do.
Yeah. We don't have neither of us have time for that. So, but it does it itself, and it's like almost free software that does the video thing.
Right.
And then what I would do is wire this into this. You know what I mean? So I'll still have an audio recording and a fucking video recording that you dump right onto YouTube.
The only thing is, I'd have to clean this room.
Nah, that's the fucking charm of it.
No, we'd have to clean it.
You see Rogan's table? That thing's not that clean either, although Corolla's is. Jesus Christ.
I mean,
I didn't even realize Corolla does this fucking thing in front of a live audience half the time. Do you listen to Corolla at all?
I don't think he has an audience.
There's a live audience in there. Or maybe there's just that many people working. I don't know. Maybe it's 8 or 9 people working, and it sounds like there's people
There's
laughing.
like 2 or 3 people on the desk other than him, plus a guest.
All right. I could have sworn I heard an audience in there the other day.
Well, maybe he added one. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
he's doing all right. By the way, Crank Yankers is coming back. I don't know if you remember Crank Yankers. Him and Jimmy are doing Crank. Oh, Joe. You're going to give yourself a fucking infection, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, right. That's what people say to me. I'm like, are you serious? I've stuck way fucking dirtier fucking things into my skin while working.
Oh. I've cut shit off with
dirty
utility knife.
You'll have that with a fucking brand new, clean fucking utility blade
I'm not
pretty
gonna
soon.
Be able to get it. It's
No.
because it's not a pus thing. It's
Yeah.
just it's fucking hard. It's a corn or whatever the hell it is. Something you get on your toe.
I'm telling you, they're
But
just
it's fucking with the nerve in my thumb, and I'm starting to feel it at the tip of my fingers.
they're gonna
So,
they're gonna chemical that thing up. Literally, it's gonna be chemical or cauterize, or it's not gonna be. You're not gonna be falling asleep and having somebody operate on your hand, like I did 6 years ago.
when you injected pain into your thumb,
Directly in my thumb and didn't go to the fucking hospital for 4 or 5 days. And when I got there, it's pretty funny. The fucking ER doctor lady was like, "Oh, that doesn't look so bad. I'm just going to give you some penicillin, antibiotics." And then the x-ray came back or something. She's like, "Oh, somebody called a hand surgeon who will be here shortly. You're getting an operation." It went from 0 to 60 literally in 30 seconds. I'm like, whoa, what? She goes, yeah, apparently there's some fucking talk about you might not wake up with your thumb.
yeah, I remember that.
And I'm like, oh, shit. I had a gig that night. I had to call the guys in the band. That was the first band I was in with Dave. No, second band with Dave Rancourt. Second band with Sav. It was a super group. It was a super group that I put together for like 4 or 5 shows. And we did play a couple after I recovered 12 weeks later.
Hey,
bitch playing drums, by the way.
Speaking of bands, I watched
Yeah.
I watched a documentary on the Foo Fighters.
Yeah.
I love that Dave Grohl. Dave Grohl is like,
He's keeping rock and roll alive, man.
he's one of the nicest people.
Seems that way. If anyone's got to be fabulously wealthy, it might have been him. Talk about 30,000 square foot house.
They showed his house. His house really wasn't that big.
Like 8,000 or 9,000 square feet, maybe.
I don't know, but it wasn't
I was just
anything that
purely
you would,
exercising a conjecture. I don't know anything.
I mean, it was big enough. I think he had a separate studio.
Yeah, they usually do. Or maybe a basement. I mean, you got to have an 8,000 square foot house if you're a rock star. That's got to be the minimum, right? How many square feet is Dave Grohl's house? In Virginia, by the way.
No, in Encino.
DC? Oh, Encino, California?
Yeah.
Oh, man, I think he's one of these guys with multiple houses, dude.
Well, he's from Washington, D.C.
Area, you're right. That's why I said Virginia.
But now, I didn't know that I don't know whether it's he personally or the Foo Fighters as a band have won 15 Grammy Awards. But I don't know what that means anymore because he even said...
It's less than 4,000 square feet.
In Encino?
Yeah, it's 3,008.
I told you,
3,888.
it was like a regular-looking house.
With an outbuilding for the studio.
Yeah, I told you.
You're right on the money, Joe. I don't know why I argue.
Dave is not...
Ostentatious.
No, I don't think he gives a fuck. Dave's a... You know what?
They got a lot of Grammys, as you were saying.
Dave is unafraid to be goofy.
The fucking drummer in Nirvana, all right? Now he's the frontman of the Foo Fighters. Again, been doing that for like 3 times as long as he was in Nirvana.
But now here's the thing. Yeah. Do you think the Grammys that he's won is because there's almost... The Grammys kind of, they have... The number of categories is fucking endless. And...
It's kind of like weight divisions in boxing.
And there's no rock bands anymore, you know?
Yeah, you're right. The competition, although there are, rock music like that isn't pop music anymore. You know what I mean? There's still plenty of new rock and roll out there. There really is. You just got to go find it. It's not in your face on the radio. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like even here in Boston, we lost our modern rock station because now it's a classic rock station because one of the classic rock stations went 80s pop or I'll get that or adult contemporary or something. 105.7 RKO.
Is there a rock station left?
Yeah.
Is BCN still there?
BCN is long gone, dude. 10 years gone.
Yeah. See,
The rock station in Boston
attention.
was 105.7, 100.7 ZLX. That's your classic rock station in Boston. And now 92.9.
You know, I drive along. I listen
to Sirius XM anyway.
I listen to NPR.
Yeah, NPR is good. I used to, when I was in the car, I would listen to them.
NPR is actually horrible.
You didn't hear the Terry Gross with Howard, did you?
No.
No.
I heard... I listened to the supposedly unbiased reporting of Trump, and they were taking calls, and anybody that called that was for Trump
Was promptly hung up on?
they
just not
they
heard
basically didn't say anything after the person talked.
Oh, okay.
So by omission, they were biased.
I got it.
You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Whereas if somebody called that was against Trump,
They would talk at length about that person's position.
yes. So, man, you got to really the tribalism though. You think about it, and you go, because there's some shit on NPR that would some positions I actually agree with, but the tribe mentality is fucking crazy. It's like me and my group. Oh, what the fuck was I listening to? This was on. I'm letting Joe Rogan get ahead of me a few episodes. I've been listening to. You know who Tom Segura is?
I do.
Tom Segura and his wife have a podcast called Your Mom's House.
Right.
So I've been listening to that, and they had somebody on. See, they talk amongst themselves for the first half hour, something like that, and then they have a guest. But they were talking about these people protesting, and they were protesting because they were artificially inseminating cows, and they were calling that rape.
Oh.
Artificially inseminating cows is rape.
Yeah, well, that cow didn't give her permission to have your fucking arm thrusted up inside of her.
And then they had a megaphone. And they were screaming. And it's not like people can rape each other. And a guy was walking by and he said, Mike Tyson did.
Right.
And then he said, so did Kobe Bryant. And the girl was going crazy. And she says, you come over here and try to rape my 6 foot, 200-pound ass.
And they're like,
So it was
why?
some 6 foot, 200-pound lesbian.
Yeah.
So with nothing better to do than to talk about. And these were like cows being raised on like the grass-fed fucking thing. It
Right.
wasn't a factory farm. People, I don't know. They're insane. They're insane. There's insane people.
Right. We were talking a little bit about Donald earlier, and the other thing that was going on with Donald, and this is minor, but you know how he gets. If anyone has anything negative, anything to say that could at all shine negatively on him, he jumps ugly. He just jumped ugly on Rex Tillerson today or yesterday. Rex Tillerson said something along the line that when Trump and Putin met, that Putin was way more prepared. And Trump basically said, yeah, well, you were probably the worst Secretary of State ever.
Next to John Kerry.
Yeah, of course. Right. I mean, all that says to me is why did you put him in that position, or who in your circle? That was a weird pick for fucking Secretary of State. I thought it was thinking outside of the box. You were hoping it would work out. You know what I mean?
A lot of people were for that pick. I don't believe that was. I mean, ultimately it was Trump's decision, but there were a lot of people that said that he would be good,
Right.
as Secretary of State. And maybe who knows? I don't know. I don't know how these. I know that if he can't work with somebody, he gets rid of them.
Right. And that's fine.
And
That's leadership.
That's what you do.
Right.
I mean, if you're not, if it's a bad fit, it doesn't mean anybody's, you know, it doesn't mean it's bad. But if it's not working out, look, he's obviously got a unique leadership style, and it's probably, I don't know how anybody keeps up with him. The guy's fucking insane.
He's like
his
a young man.
His energy is insane.
Yeah, man.
It's not like a young man. It's like...
No, I was just making a joke because he called Joe Biden an old man the other day. And it's like, Joe's 3 years older than you.
I didn't have energy like that. I've never had energy like Trump has. And I mean, I remember I read an article some girl wrote when he, you know, this was probably in the 90s, early 90s, about like she spent a day with Trump. And she said, going with Trump is like being on a motorcycle with no helmet and going 100 miles an hour, and at the end of the day, you just got fucking bugs in your teeth. He says he just goes, and he goes and he starts at 4 or 5 in the morning, and he goes until midnight.
Yeah, until his midnight burger is done.
Making calls and shit, and he just fucking repeats, and he does it 7 days a week, and he never goes on vacation.
Right. So he plays a little golf in between. Big deal.
Yeah, and that's sort of recent. He didn't play golf when he was younger. Hey, let me have a Diet Coke.
Yeah, he's become a fan.
And one of them FBs. Please. So he just... I don't think there's a lot of people that want to work with that, you know, and it's kind of, you got to work with that ego too. I mean, there's no question he's got a serious ego.
Yeah. Yeah, it's got to be.
Although he's humbled a little bit, but not. The funny thing is, they always talk about, you know, you hear this like, oh, well, Trump's going to get ready to lose it, and then he'll have a rally somewhere, and he's fucking just. He doesn't look any older.
No. Not yet.
He's not aging. Now, who knows with the orange hair? But he seems to be fine. I think he might be a little frustrated. He was frustrated that because he thought, all right, this fucking Mueller thing is over with, thank God. And they're just, whether it's to still keep a cover-up going, or they're just they insanely hate him. But Jesus Christ, there are so many people on the left or left of center, let's say, because I watched Jake Tapper, who said finally we've been waiting 20 years for somebody to fucking do something about this trade.
Right.
And it's not like the trade imbalance itself is bad. It's just China has been forcing companies like, all right, you want to sell some shit here? You gotta give us all your fucking, you know, you gotta give us your intellectual property, and you got to come over here. Like, they're making Boeing jets in China. You know, and there might be 5% of the shit that's proprietary that, you know, you can't find. Maybe it's software, stuff like that. But they'll steal that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because if you're making planes in China, and he's like, fucking enough of that. How do you pronounce it? Huawei, Yahweh, Huawei, the phone company.
Oh yeah, I don't even know how you pronounce it. I don't.
It starts with an H-U-W-E-I.
H-U-W-E-I.
Huawei, and they're basically, look, this is a communist fucking country. They don't have a rule of law. They do have written laws, but they change them. The Communist Party changes them at will when it suits them.
Right. How's that Diet Coke?
And there is no such thing as a private company in China.
Right.
All companies are, they were talking, I watched, have you ever watched Vice News?
I don't think so.
Vice News is on HBO.
It's Huawei. You had it right.
Huawei?
Huawei.
And I believe this was Trump. I think this was an executive order just the other day. He said no American company can do business with Huawei anymore. It's fucking over. Because Huawei, one, stole a tremendous amount of intellectual property. And two, the fucking Chinese, the Communist Party, the government is right in there. And they think, now Huawei has equipment for 5G. I kind of get the lowdown on what 5G is. So it's not as simple as people think. And it's not as, it's not like Huawei's got the greatest equipment. And 5G is a real bitch because you're dealing with a it's ultra high frequency. And when I say that, I think there's actually a bandwidth that's ultra high frequency. It's called, and it's beyond that. And I think after ultra high frequency is military. So you'd have to go after that. So what happens is that everything becomes, as your frequency becomes higher, it becomes much more important to be in line of sight. You follow what I'm saying?
Right.
So you need, where cell tower 4G is pretty fucking fast.
Right.
And I mean, 4G allows me to watch. I like I told you, I turned my phone into a hotspot, and I can watch television. I can make it, do a high definition picture and run my wife's and my tablet,
right,
with no problems whatsoever. So, and 5G is supposedly 100 times faster. But the point of all this nonsense is Huawei apparently has the cheapest 5G setup that, but we're not going to allow none of the phone manufacturers, nobody that, you can't sell anything with Huawei equipment to the U.S. government. That was before Trump did this. I think it's an executive order that now you no more business with Huawei.
Right.
If you're an American company, you can't do business with, So Qualcomm was selling them chips. They do make their own chips in-house, but Qualcomm has a chip that, that they might have to reverse engineer. But the funny thing is they had a press conference, or they did this open house type deal where anybody in the press could go, and the only people that went was Vice News. Nobody else went. And I mean, they went to China, and they went to the Huawei campus, which is all like perfectly copied European villages.
Sure.
It was beautiful.
Right.
But the guy sat down with a woman who wrote who signed the letter, the open invitation letter, and he asked her, "Hey, is there any members of the Communist Party?" And she goes, "Oh, I don't know. I mean, and he's like, how would you not know?" "Well, I just don't ask." And then, after he had the interview, they fessed up and they said, "Oh, well, but she's a fucking Communist Party member, and there's like 18 other ones that are, the fucking whatever the equivalent of a CEO over there is fucking either the guy he's got somebody following him around and who's a Communist Party member, or he is." Well, what's interesting is there's a lot of Americans over there working for Huawei.
Sure.
Expats living in China.
Right.
And I wonder how that is.
Well, they're making money, and you got to figure that they probably live a really nice upper middle class life or something. You know what I mean? I mean, how
Who?
the expats working in China?
Oh, yeah.
They're not
Yeah.
living in a fucking tenement, I would imagine.
No, I'm sure they're making more money than the average, which is like $9,000 a year.
Yeah,
The average China.
right.
I mean, their per cap GDP is like $9,500.
Right.
So
There's a lot of them nipperheads, though, so that adds up to a lot of money.
yeah, it's still less than the United States because even though there's 3 times as many people. Is that right? No, 4 times as many people. We've got 330 million. They've got 1.3 billion. So that would be 13.
4 times. We've had this discussion.
4
It's
times.
4 times. It's like 3.975 or something
Right.
stupid.
So, I mean, they have a lot of fucking people.
Right.
And we don't want China to, we don't want to stifle China, but they got to stop stealing shit. Start being innovative on your own, which they are, but
Right.
they're innovative.
They're innovative in the way they steal
After
intellectual
they
property.
steal shit and then they build upon that.
Right,
You
right.
know what I mean? So they've got a hell of a head start.
Yeah.
And every company that was doing business in China behind closed doors were fucking pissing and moaning, but publicly they were saying, "Oh, we don't want anything done."
Right.
Because they were afraid, because they want access to that market. But is it worth giving up your? They're gonna fucking steal all your shit, and you're gonna do business there for 5 years, and then there's gonna be a company that's identical to yours, but better,
Right.
and then they're gonna sell shit. They're gonna sell your shit back to people in the United States, and I think that's the thing that people said that's got to end.
Right.
It's not so much the trade imbalance, but that is important. The other thing is, if you charge a 25% tariff, that doesn't exactly mean that the consumer is going to be paying 25%. I mean, you can't, meaning the company will probably eat as much of that as they can to stay competitive. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it doesn't mean the consumers are going to pay more. And he just had a meeting with the farmers today. The soybean farmers are all fucked because China's not. But China doesn't buy much, so they have very little leverage. That's the problem.
Right.
I mean, they buy 5 times as much shit. They sell 5 times as much shit to us as we sell to them.
Right.
Well, actually, it's 6. If we sell them 100 billion and they sell us 600 billion, is that 6 to 1?
Say that again.
If they sell us 600 billion and we sell them 100 billion.
That's 6 to 1.
So they sell us 6 times as much shit.
Right.
Because our trade imbalance is 5 billion. But we sell them $1 billion worth of shit. So that's 6 billion. So they're nervous. And even though China plays the long game, he's going to 25% tariff. But I guess the deal is that they've been negotiating for a year now, and they got close to the deal. And I guess this is a typical Chinese move, where they got to the end and then they said, "Oh no, we can't do this." And the problem is that what the West is looking for. Bless you. What the West is looking for is they're looking for
Check. Yeah.
China to start behaving like there's some fucking laws.
Right.
So that if you're an American company over in China and somebody steals your shit, you can go and you can sue the motherfuckers.
Right.
they really don't want to allow that to happen.
Well, I mean, why would they?
They really.
How are you going to enforce that the fuck anyway?
Well, you, and that's what they're talking about. Meaning, you're going to verify that they are. Meaning, it's going to be written into the trade agreement that that we can have. So, if somebody makes a claim, then there will be.
Just seems like to
there'll
me
be people that can go to China and watch and make sure that they are given due process.
I got you,
and they'll make up what the due process is in the trade agreement.
But at the end of the day, either side can just fucking withdraw from a trade agreement for any reason and not be held liable other than by economic sanctions. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but China sells 6 times as much shit to the United States, and it's not like we're selling them $1 worth of shit and they're selling us $6. This is $600 billion a year.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah. If we put a fucking 50% trade tariff, shit would become expensive over here, Chinese goods, but we'd fucking kill their economy.
Right.
Now, nobody wants to do that. There is an advantage to be able to buy cheap goods, and it's although we don't want deflation, but having stagnant inflation is not a bad thing. Mm-hmm. Having super inflation sucks.
Right. Yeah, I mean, in the short term, at the very least, for the average person.
But I mean, we've actually seen. Under this president, and this is again the first time in a while we've seen lower wages go up.
Right.
And that's sort of that hasn't happened in a long time.
Well, don't you know that was because of Obama and Biden, Joe?
It's becoming very clear.
Joe Biden, clear presidential frontrunner for the Democratic nomination, by the way. So, go ahead.
It's becoming very clear that I don't think Obama is an evil person. I think Obama is
a Cheshire cat, smiling charlatan salesman motherfucker.
He's one of the most gifted speakers I've ever seen.
As most salesmen are.
And he has no fucking... And he won the presidency, and he has no fucking clue. He had no clue how to do anything.
Right.
And people that don't have any clue... And he's a lawyer, and he taught law. So what you do is you obstruct,
right,
which is what he did.
You look for nuance.
You become non-transparent,
right, as untransparent as you possibly can.
Which is what he did.
Law.
And when you have, when the press has a love affair with you, and your attorney general sells 2,000 guns in an operation where you sell 2,000 guns to the cartels in Mexico, and not only were there Mexican law enforcement ended up dead, there was U.S. law enforcement that ended up being killed by those guns.
Right.
And that fucking piece of shit, Holder, should have been in jail.
Right.
He should be in jail right now.
Yeah.
And they're talking about Trump and continuing on with this insanity, this collusion and obstruction shit, and saying that, well, we have to go over all the documents that Mueller went over. Well, that's why we had the special prosecutor to go over all the fucking documents and subpoena all the people and talk to all the witnesses. And, that's what he did.
Right.
And
it's almost like they're just saying, no, he was just
Obama said,
gathering all the information.
We're not providing you with anything.
Right.
And the press didn't fucking say anything. They didn't say boo.
No, they haven't said anything at all.
So even when the Republicans were in control of the House and Senate, there was no, I think fucking douchebag there, Holder. I think he testified for a day in front of Congress.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think it was 2 days.
Maybe it was 2 days.
Yeah, it was.
But
It
I
was
mean,
2
it
days.
wasn't. There was nothing. There wasn't an investigation. There was no special prosecutor, which there should have been. And there was no, and they didn't have to because the press fucking just didn't care.
Right.
And that I'll never forget. That cocksucker is the guy that lobbied Bill Clinton to let Mark Rich out of. This is the guy who was, I believe he was convicted. And, it's not like I hate tax cheats.
Go easy. Go easy.
But he was convicted of, he like $1 billion in taxes that he owed or something. And he went to fucking Switzerland. And he's dead now. But that was Holder that got Clinton to do that.
If you put
Holder's a scumbag. That's the bottom line there.
Yeah, he died in Lucerne, Switzerland in 2013. Old Mark Rich. Worth $2.5 billion.
Yeah, and I bet his wife got the money, and she lives here.
Speaking of enemies of the people, did you see that the United States Department of Justice has filed several more charges against Julian Assange now that he's in our custody?
I just started reading something on that.
Yeah.
And they're talking about there's going to be a First Amendment problem. And this will be interesting.
First Amendment problem with the charges?
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. That's right up your alley, son.
Well, like the New York Times somehow got a hold of Trump's transcripts, the tax transcripts, which is what you get when you can file. I just had to do it for Billy. I had to get a copy of his transcript for last year. I did his taxes this year. Mm-hmm. Actually, I didn't. His wife ended up doing it. Because, you should have one person do your taxes. So somehow the New York Times got a hold of Trump's taxes. Now, there is no fucking legal requirement that a president has to provide tax returns.
Right. It's not written in.
Now, it's been done. The last 40 years of presidents have provided their tax returns.
Presidents.
But that is, it's not a precedent. It's just that's what they did.
Right.
There's no law that says you have to do that.
Right.
And but the point that I'm getting at is if you're going to charge Assange for he received documents that were classified and published them, and they're U.S. classified, and he's in Europe.
Right.
And he's not an American citizen.
Right.
He's not beholden to our laws. Then what's the difference between what he did and what the New York Times did?
Right.
And fucking the New York Times published a bunch of shit that Assange let out.
Right.
You know what I mean? So this will be very interesting. Julian Assange did us Snowden, Assange, Bradley Manning, I think they're patriots.
Chelsea Manning.
Chelsea. Well, actually, Snowden and Chelsea Manning are patriots. Assange is he's not an American citizen. I don't know why he would be.
He's like a Swedish national or some shit.
No, I think he's Australian.
I think you're right. Yeah.
So how they could extradite him to the United States?
Actually, I think he was born in Australia.
I don't think he's I don't think he's been on U.S. Was he in the United States doing any of this shit? Did he work inside the United States?
I don't know any of the specifics. I probably should because I brought it up, but usually you take the ball and
No, I was just starting to read about this a little bit because this will be interesting.
He's just the founder and former director of WikiLeaks, Australian. You're right about Australian. And he's got a really big beard.
Well, I think he was going crazy.
Yeah, man. Most people who wear big beards do go crazy. Hence, my big beard for 3 years. A little craziness going on. The thing about the big beard is you never have to shave or cut your beard.
Julian Assange indicted under Espionage Act, raising First Amendment issues. So says the New York Times. See, I don't understand how he's not a U.S. citizen.
Not a U.S. citizen, so how is he...
How is he subject to the Espionage Act?
Well, how is he subject to, say, First Amendment rights? Is he protected under the First Amendment right?
Yeah,
if he's not, you know,
he
what
is.
Even though he's not...
See, I don't know
how
do you file charges against somebody that's not a U.S. citizen? But all non-citizens that are under the U.S. are, you know, like if he was in,
it's like any other fucking spy. If you find a German spying on you in World War II, you fucking arrest his ass and try him for spying on you.
Have to be in the country. Was he in the? Was he in the? Did he do it in the country? I don't know. This is gonna be like a Swedish fucking thing,
right?
I mean, this is gonna be a fucked up deal. I was just reading Sweden here.
Yeah. Well, how did Sweden come up? I said he was Swedish. Was there some connection to Sweden?
Well, apparently he had sex with whether it was a girl or two girls, and then he woke up in the morning and then had sex with one of them again. But he didn't wear a condom
while he was in Sweden.
Popped a load into her. And, and then she accused him of rape.
Oh, boy.
But at the time he was banging her, she
pretty much
wasn't saying no.
Right. Pretty much consented to his filthy fucking load.
So, I mean, it's bullshit.
Yeah.
But then again, I don't know if Sweden has some...
Remind me, he was in the Ecuadorian embassy was it in London?
In England.
In England, yeah.
Do you know London is a separate city?
From what?
There is a city of... How do I explain this?
Is there a county of London and a city of London?
There is a separate little city. And it's some weird fucking deal.
Yeah.
And they have like autonomy. And this is like for financial... goes way back to like colonialism and financial crookery. It's like there's a city of London inside of London.
Okay. It's like a independent state, like the Vatican.
I mean, but there's London, of course, which is a city.
A big one, it turns out.
But then there's a small little city.
Shaped like a baseball. I wonder if I'll ever go there.
The city of London is a historic financial district, home to both the Stock Exchange and the Bank of England.
Okay.
Modern corporate skyscrapers tower above the vestige of medieval alleyways below. Affluent workers frequented smart restaurants and bars. But I think that's still... you know what it is? It's the City of London Corporation.
Oh, okay.
City of London provides local government and police services for the financial and commercial heart of Britain, the square mile. And this is where they do all kinds of, like the Bank of England's in there, and somehow they can do like all kinds of crazy shit.
They can maneuver.
That are outside of the laws of
England.
The UK.
Yeah.
And the EU. Well, now they're outside of the EU.
Right.
But it's a fucked up kind of deal. But yeah, this is...
Continuing with the theme of enemies of the people of the United States.
Keep going, baby.
John Walker Lynn was released from prison. today or yesterday. Remember who he is?
No.
20 years in prison. He did 20 years.
John Walker Lynn?
He was the American Taliban from way back.
Oh, Jesus,
The
really?
deserter. He just got out of prison in fucking, what do you call it?
So you went to...
He was in jail in Indiana. Some fucking federal pen or something.
He went to prison before 9/11?
He did two decades, I think. So maybe I'm wrong on the 2 decades thing. All right, let me look that back
I would
up.
think they would be putting... They wouldn't be putting... You know, it's 19... It's 2019, so...
All right, maybe it's almost 2 decades. John Walker Lind with the H at the end. He was an armed forces dude. He just got out of fucking jail. Let's see. I'm sorry, 17 years he was in jail.
Yeah,
17
that makes a little more sense.
A little more sense.
So
Still
he's
a long
out
time.
now?
Yeah, he's out.
Wasn't he from fucking Oregon or something?
He was captured in the battlefield in Afghanistan. He's 38 now, so he was young, man. He was only 20.
He was a kid.
Terre Haute, Indiana is where he did his time. I'm not sure where he's from. Anyway, sorry I brought him up.
Well, what they're saying is
Fucking
it's
cares.
First Amendment because Assange is a journalist.
Ah.
And they're trying to say that he was no journalist, but, I mean, what else would you call him?
I mean, the biggest swinging dick in all of Sweden? I don't know.
It'll be interesting because I don't know whether they've agreed to. Is he in Sweden or is he in England?
No, I think all that shit went down when he was in Sweden. He's in the United States now.
He is?
I believe he was extradited, wasn't he? Just fucking sitting here bringing up fucking news shit like I know what I'm talking about, and I just don't. I mean, it happens. Hopefully nobody here is listening. You're listening for opinions, we hope, not fucking news.
Right. Because we don't know whether he's here. I don't think he's here.
We're kind of like Fox in that respect. Don't look to get your news, all right?
Where is he?
Assange is, right now, by the way, these charges could spell decades for him by prosecuting. It's only 47.
I know.
He's a baby, Joe.
Isn't that crazy? He's
I know.
fucking...
Way younger than you.
I know.
He's half
like
a generation
7 years
younger
younger than me.
Yeah.
It's fucking
I
crazy.
don't know where he is. I'm trying to scroll fast to see if I can figure out where his actual whereabouts.
I don't know, you fucking useless bastard.
I know.
Rotten motherfucker.
I'm going to continue on that, but I'm going to throw out, continuing with the theme of enemies of the people of the United States of America. I tried to start on it earlier, but you see, Uncle Joe is really separating himself from the pack right now. Not that it matters. It's just polls and it's early. But he's 33 plus or minus 4, which is a wide swing when you only... Sanders is 15 plus or minus 4.
Well, he's the only one...
Harris and Warren are close.
This is how sad this whole fucking crowd is.
Right.
He's the only one out of the entire crowd that has a fucking chance of winning.
Oh, right.
I mean, Bernie Sanders isn't going to win.
No.
Elizabeth Warren's not going to win. Kamala Harris is never going to win.
Right.
I like that Buttigieg guy or whatever his name is.
Yeah, America's not ready.
Him and his husband, but America's not ready.
They're not ready.
And I don't
he's
know,
too young, frankly.
I don't know. Yeah, he's only 37. I don't know how left he is either. You know, I don't know who fucking Beto O'Rourke is. I've read a few things that he said, and he seems like an idiot. Cory Booker is polling at 2%. So,
is that what you got him at? Hold on.
Well, it's Real Clear Politics has him at.
Right, hold on. I got him at. Well, it doesn't matter. I lost it.
They got Biden at 34.
Yeah, 33.
34.7. They got Sanders at 17.7. Warren at 9.8. Harris at 8. Buttigieg at 6.2.
See who's bringing up the very end of the list?
Booker.
No. Well, you got like 8 or 9 of them. There's 13 of them. Bill de Blasio, who has officially announced he is in negative numbers, man. Nobody wants that fucking guy to be president.
No, they don't. They fucking hate him in New York. Even the people that voted for him.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he's a fucking communist. He should go straight to China.
Right. Fucking Boston born and bred. New York's mayor. Which, that's okay. Wasn't fucking Mike Bloomberg from Brookline or something?
Yeah.
He's another one who fucking transplanted. What is it about us, man? Oh, yeah. De Blasio, Yang, Marianne Williamson. I don't even know who that is. Tulsi Gabbard, Julian Castro, and then, like you said, Booker, Klobuchar, O'Rourke, Buttigieg.
Joe Rogan had Tulsi Gabbard on.
Okay. What does she do again? Is she a U.S. rep? Some shit? Or a senator? Who even knows?
I don't. I think she's a U.S. rep. But she's not going to be president.
No, she's a festering gash wound.
No, I mean, you know what? She hates this. You know, when I talk about the people that you don't see all that often on TV, you know, the ones that you see all the time, you know, looking at this fucking hag, Nancy Pelosi, who has been Speaker of the House twice, and looks like she's melting.
Right. I'm melting.
It's a very sad state of affairs when this person is. This is really the best that you can put forward in the Democratic Party. Right. And the only reason that she's there is she's incredible at raising money, apparently. Right. Probably because she and her hubby took full advantage of the legalized insider trading that you could do if you're in the Congress. Right. And I don't know if it's illegal now. I think it might still be fucking legal.
To engage in a little insider trading?
Yeah. Uh-oh. CNN, MSNBC ratings plunge. Shows fake news is bad strategy.
Oh, no.
Because they're still doing the collusion shit.
Right. Yeah, no, people are fucking sick of it, man.
Yeah, I think the country as a whole is like, all right, you know. I mean, even if you're a fucking partisan, well, not if you're crazy, but there's a lot of Democrats that are like, all right, well, it's been 2.5 years of this bullshit. Let's fucking do something.
There's only one
Get some road fixed.
There's only one statesman on that list of Democratic hopefuls, and that's Joe Biden. I didn't say patriot. I didn't say great statesman. There's only one statesman out of 13 people. None of those other people can be called a statesman. Grant, I know Donald Trump wasn't a statesman. Guess what? Now he is. Joe Biden's the only statesman, and that's why in this fucking field of fucking patheticness, he's the only one. By the way, the person who's going to be the nominee is someone who hasn't announced yet anyway. And I'm not saying Hillary. I'm saying the nominee's not even announced yet. You'll see. None of those people are going to be the nominee. Maybe Biden, but I don't think so. I'm sticking by it. I've said it before.
Yeah, because this is the summer of 2019.
Yeah, there's not a fucking end of January. January is when the primaries start.
So we got. How far is it to November?
Well, if this
quite a
is
few
the
months,
5th month. It's almost the 6th month. It's 5 months till November.
So it's 5 months away. It's 17 months before the election. So it's, I mean,
Do the primaries start in November? That's a stupid question.
no, it's 17 months before.
When is the first primary?
Democratic primary.
I think they're all held.
Are they the same?
Yeah, they're held at the same time. Democratic presidential primaries are scheduled to take place February to June. February to June next year. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah. So in the summer they'll have them.
Yeah. I mean, Super Tuesday, I think, used to be in March. I don't know if it still is. I don't even know if there is such a thing as Super Tuesday. I think a lot of the states that were balled into that kind of broke free of it and, joined other 2 or 3 state collusions. Instead of like 29 of them, it's, Super Tuesday is like 15 of them now, and then there's other days because, like anything, they got to get their Q rating up. You know what I'm saying?
Well, here's a Schumer.
Crying Chuck?
What happened at the White House would make your jaw drop.
Right.
Well, it probably made Chuck's jaw drop so someone could put a cock in his mouth.
Right.
Hot Chuck.
Right.
Crying Chuck.
It's not, he's crying for cock, Chuck.
He's crying for cock.
Crying for cock, Chuck Schumer. Oh, shit. Say that 10 times
He
fast.
just looks like he'd love a cock.
He does. And what does a cocksucker look like? I know.
He
Chuck.
looks
That's
just
what.
like Chuck Schumer.
Yeah.
And I mean, he's just horrid.
And it doesn't look like he just sucks cock. He looks like A, he's good at it, and B, likes it.
I think he's got like cocks all throughout where he lives.
Speaking of butt plugs,
Yeah, like
know what I
ones
mean?
that light up.
there's a cock in his butt right now.
I believe that there
And
is,
he's fully clothed.
and it vibrates,
Right.
and he changes the battery.
Listen.
He has a young boy change the battery
You know how Bill
while
Clinton...
it's in his ass.
You know Bill Clinton loves raping people?
Fucking, he loves it.
Chuck Schumer loves cock.
Is Chuck Schumer married?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, we can find out, though. Hold on. Oh, I just got a fucking text.
Is it Chuck Schumer? He can't be married, can he?
I don't know.
He's such a cunt. Oh, he's married to Iris Wineshale.
Right.
She's got to look like a man. Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
Is she manly?
Oh, take a look.
I got to come around.
Take a look at that. Look at that fucking thing.
No wonder he loves cock.
That's a cover-up wife right there. He ain't fucking that. That's just his, that's just for show.
Right. That's a show, not blow.
I believe she's a man. Old Iris used to be Ira.
Right. Ira Schumer. The last thing I wanted to say was, did you see poor Artie got arrested again?
No.
He was doing good on his rehab, and he was pumping gas, as he had to pump gas as part of his, they make these.
Oh, as part of his parole or something?
Yeah.
Probation, whatever the fuck it is.
Yeah. So he violated his probation. And they won't say how, but they say he's healthy in a good way, but he's in prison. He was pumping gas fucking at a gas station. There was a lot of YouTube videos. I mean, he was joking about it and stuff, but the sight of the poor guy's fucking nose is just it's horrifying. There you go. Look at the side picture. Just destroyed by fucking heroin. That's his mugshot.
So what is he snorting heroin?
Oh, he used to. That was his thing. He always snorted it. He never injected it. That was his thing.
But I mean, what does it do to your nose?
Apparently that makes it collapse.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you snort a lot of shit up there that you're not supposed to be snorting. By the way, he looks good with the gray hair, and it looks like he got a little color.
Well,
But
you're all pumping gas.
yeah, he was all pumping gas, and now he's in jail.
It's very sad. You know what's sad? My framer, who I hope doesn't listen to this show, there's a disconnect. And it goes kind of like this. So we have a nailing inspection, okay? So guy comes out, the inspector comes out, fails the nailing inspection. So I didn't have a plan there.
Right.
I bring a plan there. And the inspector wanted a few things done. So he failed it again.
Right.
The second time. So Scott, this is last week. Scott says, I said, when can I have him inspect? He says, I got to put a lot of nails in. So anytime after Tuesday. So I can never reach him. You know what I mean? And I said, have you been to the house? Did the nailing inspection pass? And he says, and he sends back a text that says, I ran out of nails. We'll be done with the nails today. I said, the inspector was there yesterday because you told me it was going to be done Tuesday. So, and I asked the question again, have you seen, because they leave a piece of paper there that says, so he looks at the piece of paper apparently, and he said it failed. Now, it took me a while to get that text back. I had called town hall, left a message with one of the girls, and I said, hey, could you let me know on this permit whether the nailing inspection passed or failed. So I'm coming home. He had told me it's failed. He went there. He spent 4 hours today while I was there moving dirt, nailing. And I get a message while I'm driving home, because he left before I did, that the nailing inspection yesterday passed. And he was reading because I didn't go in and look at the form, because I figure you can read. He's looking at the form for the second inspection, not for the third. Something missing. You know what I mean?
Right.
Something fucking fucked up in Dodge here.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what it is.
Listen.
I like Scott. But and he's got a guy that's working for him who seems okay. Military guy he's a vet, so I don't mind that at all. But and Scott does a nice job framing, but there's I don't know, something
missing, Joe.
There's some speed bumps in the Synapse Highway.
Right. In the Synapse parking lot.
I don't know, maybe that's just the way it is. You know what I mean, dude? It's the way it is. So, you want to get out of here?
Yeah, I got to get going, man.
All right, you fucking assholes.
So,
whoever's listening to this. That's all we got for you.
My name's Al. His name's Joe. This was kind of right.
We might kind of be on fucking video, maybe.
Kind of soon. I want everyone to have a good Memorial Day. This is my favorite weekend of the year, mostly because of the weather.
You know, this weekend is supposed to be fucking beautiful.
It is. We're gonna have a little rain Sunday morning, a little bit.
I'll have solar up and running by the end of the week.
But it's gonna be a gorgeous weekend. So enjoy the weekend, Joe.
You too, buddy.
I'll see you next.
What are you doing?
I am yard sailing, son.
Oh, I got it.
Yard sale. Memorial Day weekend's a good weekend to yard sale. Got 3 days to get it done. And I'm getting it done, and whatever people don't buy, I'm putting out for free Monday afternoon. And whatever they don't take,
I got to do that during the summer.
And whatever they don't take, I'm putting in a dumpster. None of it's going back in a box.
You over, commandeer you. See, the problem is you actually have a fucking job. Maybe I'll bring Bob Malone over.
Yeah.
You know what I got to do is just kind of say, all right, I don't need this. Just take that motor and take some pictures of it with the muffler and shit. And
right.
Sell that on eBay and just, I don't have to do it fast, just one at a time, and just sort of build a little box, wooden box, put that fucker in.
Right.
Ship it out and keep going till a lot of it's gone.
Right.
It's hard to part with the junk.
I know it is, man. Especially when it's quality junk.
Well, I don't know. A lot of it's not even quality. It's just like
you got to free yourself.
I found out there's 6 levels to being a hoarder. I'm like a number between 2 and 3.
No shit.
Like level 6, there's fucking rats running around.
Yeah.
There's not even pathways.
Right.
You're shitting into a fucking garbage bag.
Right. And not throwing it out.
Oh,
obviously.
no, you're saving that, too, because, that's like your babies.
Right.
So.
The very definition of anal retentive.
But I'm like between a 2 and 3.
No shit.
So.
I mean, congratulations, Joe.
Well, at least I'm good at something.
Yeah, man. You got
Hoarding.
Listen, my mom said, stick with your strengths. And on that note,
adios.
Good night, Waterbury.